So all I'm saying is just match where she's at. So if she's sending you, longer text, then, it's okay to send a longer text. But if she's not making any effort, you want to be at that same level and not really make that much of an effort either. And definitely do not be that guy that tries to maybe make a longer text just to convince her to sort of be attracted to you. Forget that, man. If she's not into you from the beginning, we are not over here trying to convince women of anything. If you don't get it from the beginning, then I'm not going to be the one to explain it to you. I'll just go find somebody else that does get it. Hello world, Prince here, and welcome to my channel, Gentlemen and Scholars, where we discuss dating, style, personal development, and so much more. All right, so for my returning friends, definitely give this one a thumbs up for another awesome video. And if you're new to the channel, definitely consider taking a look around, liking and subscribing. As you know, it helps with that algorithm, it helps the channel to grow, and it really does work to facilitate that strong, tight-knit community. All right, so for today's topic, we're gonna be going over something a bit different, but one that I think is important to touch on. Is going to be how to attract women via text. So I'm going to be going over some of the things that I do when it comes to texting with women. I know this is a method of communication that is preferred by a lot of you guys. So I'll go into details regarding what I do and what some of the do's and don'ts are. So definitely make sure you stick around until the end, because this is going to be packed with a ton of very important information. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into today's video. All right, so I was able to break this topic down into 10 different key points that I really wanted to touch on. These are going to be some of the biggest things that you're going to want to pay attention to when it comes to texting, to attract women. So for tip number one, which is really one of the biggest tips, but is actually unrelated to texting, but kind of is, that's going to be, you're going to want to pay attention to the approach. Now, wait, hear me out. I know this is a video about texting, but the approach is so important right out the gate before you even get into the texting part. And it really doesn't matter whether you meet this girl at a party, meet this girl on the street, meet this girl through friends. The approach and the way that you get the number from the girl is going to affect the way that the text exchange goes. So before you guys hop on here and say like, oh man, these tips are bad or they don't work, just know that the approach plays into this as well. For instance, if you meet that woman and you maybe walk up to her, with your shoulders hunched forward, your head down, speaking really softly, and she can barely hear you, and maybe she just gives you the number just to, get you to go away, and maybe, you'll get the hint later. Not to be mean or anything, but that was just a girl that you had a very little chance with. But if you go and make a really confident approach, you're sure of yourself, you're holding a masculine frame, and you're not like beating around the bush, you're direct, you're saying exactly what's on your heart, what's on your spirit, you'll have a much better chance of attracting that woman via text. So for me, this might look like, damn, like you're really stunning. Like I had to come over here and meet you. What's your name? Strong eye contact, my hands out, I'm shaking. It's just a way more masculine perspective. And trust me, this is not something that she experiences every day. And it's definitely gonna set you apart from the 100 other guys that she's going to be encountering. And this is especially important when you're talking about the really, really gorgeous women, because trust me, they're getting hit on constantly. So anyway, that was tip number 1. Enough with that topic. Let's actually get on the tips related to texting. So tip number 2, that's going to be to let your intentions be known. So I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but it's important to do this even through text. So there's gonna be different ways that you get numbers from women, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's just gonna be extremely important that you set the tone. And for me, you know, I like to throw in something that can be considered slightly shocking. Not something too over the top, but something just to shock the system just a bit, and also let my intentions be known so that, you know, I'm not messing around, I'm not playing any games, you know exactly where I'm at. So let's say I meet a girl at the gym, right? So there might be 1 or maybe 2 text exchanges regarding like the basic stuff. Hey, like, how was your day? But then I might switch gears and say something like, you know, you have an amazing physique. What are you, a gym trainer or something? Like, you have to work for the gym and train there. There's no way you just go there. Something like that sets the tone and, you know, lets it be known that I was checking out her physique. So it just, you know, really changes the dynamic. And, you know, it also shows confidence, because most guys are, you know, going to beat around the bush, or maybe not, you know, get to that, or maybe even get to it way later in the conversation after they feel like they've built up enough rapport or maybe gained enough confidence to do so. But if you're one of those guys that gets to that very early on in the conversation, it just shows confidence, you know, and it sets you apart from the rest. Tip number 3, when it comes to texting to attract women, you're going to want to say more while typing less. So please do not be that guy typing long, drawn out paragraphs. You know, you're gonna want to say what you have to say it directly, and, you know, not really beat around the bush and have these long text exchanges. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's really not necessary. And, you know, once you hear the rest of these tips, I think this will make more sense. And piggybacking on the 3rd tip, for the 4th tip, you're gonna wanna make sure that you pay attention to the length of your text versus hers. So just in life in general, when it comes to people, you wanna meet them where they're at. So if a girl is putting in a little bit of effort, you kind of want to match and mirror that. You want to put in the same amount of effort that she's putting in. So in other words, if she's sending you 1 or 2 word responses, you should be sending right around the same amount of words. You may call it petty. I don't. I call it being fair. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to be around people that are excited to be around you. So if she's putting in a little bit of effort, I mean, I would not put in that effort. Honestly, for me, if it got to that point for an extended period of time, I would just totally stop responding to her text messages, because quite frankly, it's a bit rude. So all I'm saying is just match where she's at. So if she's sending you, you know, longer text, then, you know, it's okay to send a longer text. But if she's not making any effort, you want to be at that same level and not really make that much of an effort either. And definitely do not be that guy that tries to, like, you know, maybe make a longer text just to convince her to sort of be attracted to you. Forget that, man. If she's not into you from the beginning, we are not over here trying to convince women of anything. If you don't get it from the beginning, then I'm not going to be the one to explain it to you. I'll just go find somebody else that does get it. Additionally, you're going to want to pay attention to the timing of the text as well. This goes into the level of effort because it kind of works in tandem usually. So, you know, if a girl gets in the habit of sending, like, you know, 2 or 3 word responses, that's usually accompanied by maybe a 3 or 4 hour time span, something to that effect. And, you know, if this is happening, you're going to want to match and mirror that as well. So again, if she's taking 3 or 4 hours to get back, I might take 6 hours, or I might take a full 24 hours. At that point, I'm like, all right, she's not making me a priority, so I'm not going to be out here, you know, trying to make her a priority. And I don't think that's being manipulative. I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think what's fair is fair. and you want to give people priority that give priority to you. If you're one of the guys that listens to my channel, you know, you will very likely end up in a situation where more than one girl wants you. So this is a very easy way to figure out who you want to spend your time with, you know, especially if you're a guy that, you know, is maybe unsure of who you want to date right out the gate. You know, this is a great way to weed that out. It's like, all right, if she's giving me priority, I'll go ahead and spend time with her. And then, you know, when this other girl gets it together, or maybe figures out where her head's at, or figures out that she actually does like you, then, you know, you'll circle back to her. But I mean, you know, we're not going way out our way for women, that's all I'm saying. But hey, really quick, if you made it this far, congratulations. You are on your way to becoming a premier gentleman and scholar. So definitely consider taking a look around, liking and subscribing. As you know, it helps with that algorithm, it helps the channel to grow, and it really does work to facilitate that strong, tight-knit community. So for tip number 6, that is going to be, do not double text. Now, there are small exceptions to this, but generally speaking, do not be that guy that like texts something and then maybe an hour or 30 minutes or even 2 hours later, you know, you'll text something right after, or text like a question mark. It just gives off the vibe that you are not a catch, and that additionally, you're not sure that she's going to get back to you. So it's like a little reminder, and that does not make you look masculine. It doesn't make you look confident. It's just not ideal. So don't double text. There's just no need for it. So for tip number 7, this is to do not make it a habit of sending photos to her. So this especially goes for in the beginning. I know a lot of you guys like to send funny memes, you know, this and that. And I'm not saying that you have to totally get rid of it, but you do want to severely limit it. To be honest, the photo thing, that's more of a thing that women do. For instance, I've had women that, you know, they'll miss me and, you know, they might reach out and then they might send a hey and then also send a photo of themselves, or maybe send a photo of themselves in lingerie. Like, it's their way of trying to get your attention. So, you know, the photo thing, that should really be reserved more so for the women. But I mean, you know, if you're a couple weeks or maybe, you know, a month or 2 into the relationship, you want to send a funny meme, it's not the end of the world. But all I'm saying is just, you know, keep that in the back of your mind. All right, so for tip number 8, this one's going to be a little bit more subtle, but I mean, you know, I do see guys do this, so I think it's one worth pointing out. Do not feel obligated to stay on one certain subject because, you know, maybe it's going well, or maybe because she brought it up. Feel free to switch gears and, you know, create a more interesting sort of conversation by asking, you know, really good questions, and questions that, quite frankly, she'll enjoy answering. This is a great way to create rapport with people in general, not just women, so it's definitely something worth considering. So tip number 9 for texting tips to attract women, that is going to be, do not do the daily good morning and good night text. Now wait, I'm not saying that you cannot do it at all, but to do it every single day, eventually this will become something that's, you know, sort of expected. It'll become something that's boring. So don't be that guy. If you do want to do it, maybe do it sporadically. Don't get in a routine of doing it. You know, if it's been 2 or 3 weeks and you want to shoot her a good morning text, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but honestly for me, I just don't do it because it's just not really necessary. The woman will reach out when she misses you anyway, so there's really no point to doing this. It's just one of those things that's just not really necessary. And last but not least, tip number 10 for, you know, texting tips to increase attraction with women. This is really the biggest tip. This is going to be to set dates. Too many guys do this. They text too much, and they text to the point where the woman gets totally turned off, and then they don't ever get around to setting the date with the woman. This is not ideal. This does not make you look confident, masculine, etc. And here's the harsh truth, gentlemen. Unfortunately, there is no real way to truly increase attraction via text. I mean, you can create a little bit of rapport. You can maybe deepen the connection a little bit in that way. But really, if you really want to make a true impact, you're gonna need real FaceTime with each other. This is in person, creating nice, fun experiences together, real memories, and true intimacy. So this is something that can only be done in person. And I know a lot of women will complain about this, but you know, it's just not something that is very helpful when it comes to, you know, the whole attraction thing. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of texting, but the overarching point in all this is that you want to be setting dates. And I'm talking about really quickly. This is like, I would say in like the third maybe text that you send, you should bring this up. But anyway, I know that was a ton of information to digest, but you know, it's really impactful stuff, and it's truly been impactful for me in my life. This is stuff I really do, I really use, and I know it will be impactful for you. So, you know, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. If you do have any questions for me, definitely feel free to give a shout. I'll go ahead and drop my email in the description box down below. And additionally, let me know. Oh, really quick, make sure you like and subscribe. As you know, it helps that algorithm, it helps the channel to grow, and it really does work to facilitate that strong, tight-knit community. So, you know, let me know your thoughts on this one. Do you have some tips that you use in your text exchanges that have worked really well with you? Definitely let me know down below if I've missed any. And, you know, do you have any commentary on what was discussed today? I'd love to hear that as well. Definitely let me know. Until next time, gentlemen and scholars.